All right. Let's try that again. So you guys should be able to hear me loud and clear now. And I will be returning that item and and we'll give it another try. What's going on? Curious Contrarian. Thanks for the email. But no, it was just a bad purchase. You know, we live and we learn. But I'll try. I have my eye on another piece of equipment that I'm going to try in its place. Yeah, I mean the system I have right now is quality. It just doesn't I can't hook up multiple mics to it. So, the other piece of equipment was you could plug up to 4 different mics to it. But whatever. We'll return it and try again. Hey, what's up, Lynn? How you doing? Yep, I just plugged in the old system. Said hell with it. Keep it simple, right? Thank you, Curious Contrarian. I appreciate that. I was flying the drone around in here earlier, working with the payload dropper. Yep, keep it simple, stupid. Yeah, that was just a bad purchase. Um, they had the way they didn't have it set up correctly. Nothing nothing had its own individual channel. Everything was going through the same it was like all feeding into one channel. That's not going to work for what I'm trying to do. Shop building? What do you mean? Flying the drone? I was making sure that the I could operate the payload release pole barn. What the hell? Yep, I was. I was flying the drone inside of my garage slash studio. So it seems to be able to pick up about 5 pounds without any issue, which is pretty impressive. So if we needed to get, I don't know, a cell phone, a radio, first aid kit, water to somebody that's in a hard to reach place, we could do that pretty easy with that drone. Yep, we back in the danger zone. Yeah, I just unplugged all that shit and threw it back in its box. It's going back tomorrow. I wonder how long it's going to take before everybody realizes we're back on. Anthony says, talking about Westfall, laugh out loud. I said, go watch Sleuth. He did 2 interviews. They were great. Then they came after me. Yeah, don't use the S word. They might cry and stop their live stream. Nah, it's no big deal, Paradox. I'm just stubborn. When I seen that it wasn't what I was hoping it was, I should have just unplugged it and put it back in the box, but being stubborn. What are you up to this weekend, Dan? Oh, really? Seems to be certain people's MO. Driving in the ice, yuck. Be safe, man. Take care of yourself out there. Damn, ice road trucker. Welcome back, Miranda. All night, huh? Well, we'll do our best to keep you entertained as long as we can. Paradox. What's up, big fish? Yep. I unplugged all of that crap and threw it back in the box. Now we can get down to our discussion. Good one, Anthony. Yeah, Mandy. What's up, Randy? Yeah, I apologize about that. So I don't know. Maybe I'll just do something similar to what I have now and just kind of something bigger. I'm sure all I need is like 3 microphones. I don't know. Maybe there's like a Bluetooth option. But what were we talking about? We were just getting started. Yep, shit happens. We deleted it and here we are. We're right back, you know. Everything's all good. You know, just nothing a return and a bad review won't fix. Welcome back everybody. Looks like everybody's slowly realizing that we're back up. We are back in action. Good to see you, Joe. Welcome back. What were we talking about? Do you guys want to let me know what you guys think about the stars here? You guys like that? I don't know if I like the stars. You guys are liking the stars? Joe says murder sheet interview with Jur, your opinion sleuth. I thought it was great. You know, Jur, they're just normal people, you know? These jury members, jurors, whatever you want to call them. They're just regular people. I just found it very strange to hear Richard Allen's defense team kind of shocked at the things that the jury was interested in and the things that they thought were silly. Like it should have been obvious to you, bud. Like you're bringing in medieval torture tools and shit. Like, what are you doing, man? It's kind of insulting, you know, when you can see somebody trying to patronize you, it can be very off putting for some folks. So we're digging the stars. I don't know. Doug Carter just kind of bores the hell out of me. I don't expect to get anything from Doug Carter. Now, Vito, man, he was an open book. That was a so far that's my favorite murder sheet interview. Um that was very telling. Well, they kinda used him like a shield, Anthony. The case became very high profile, just like, the Florida fires, it started gaining momentum. So instead of the core investigative team being berated by reporters and being distracted and feeling the need to answer questions, you have somebody like, Kim Riley or Doug Carter that steps in, and they kinda just smooth things over. They're basically politicians is what it is. They're not part of the actual investigation. That's why during every speech from Doug Carter, he's like, "Put it on me. Like, don't go after them. If you got an issue with the how the investigation is ran, I'll take that." Because that's his job. That's what he's there. He's the kinda like the scapegoat. Miranda, I thought Doug Carter was your crush. I wouldn't say every woman, but most women find him, like, very handsome. Yeah. They find him handsome in a very Sean Connery type way, I guess. Doug Carter, he's always like, then he always goes, like bites his lip. Joe Newman. That's funny. Silver Fox. Yeah, there you go. Silver Fox. Doug Carter's daughter is a detective and an excellent one at that. She was just recognized for her intensive work on a case involving children. That's awesome. He must be proud. So I think one thing we forget about is that Keegan Klein didn't just make Anthony shots. That was like his most recent creation. I think that was his masterpiece, really. But before that, he was doing a lot of sick shit. Emily Ann, remember? So this is what he would do. He would jump online under that persona, Emily Ann, 13-year-old girl. Um, um, from my understanding, he eventually comes out of the closet, right? The girl, because she's lesbian. That's why she wants nude photos, right? Need an explanation. Like, what do you need nude photos for if you're a girl? Um, so eventually Emily Ann will come out as gay and, try to engage that way. And if that's unsuccessful, then she would kind of be like, "Hey, well, you can go talk to my brother Keegan Klein. That's my older brother. He's a great guy. You should go friend him. Go friend him on Instagram." So he would use this Emily Ann to become friends with 13-year-old girls. And Emily Ann, the profile was 13 years old. So they think that they're making a friend, same age, nothing to worry about, very persuasive. He's been he's been evolving at this. He's been doing it since he was since 2015. So he knows what works, what doesn't work. And I think Anthony Shots was like his masterpiece. You know, after all of that trial and error, he's finally now so deep into the dark web, so deep into CSAM and communicating, working with certain links that are almost impossible, if not impossible, to hack. And that's why he has the Dropbox. So who knows what he was motivated to do? We're talking about somebody who's been catfishing and doing all this sick shit online for quite some time. He's evolved now. Did it evolve to the point of murder? Well, now that you bring that up, Anthony, another thing that was discussed during Murder Sheet's interview with Detective Vito was the fact that the girls were talking with Anthony Shots the night of. Remember, they were staying up late. Well, guess who they were communicating with? Anthony Shots. When they woke up at 10 a.m. up until the point that they died, guess who they were communicating with? Anthony Shots. Guess on what platform they were communicating with him on. According to Vito, it was Snapchat. Now, why would why would the killers be communicating with the girls on Snapchat? Because of the way it's set up. It self-destructs, right? You send a message and then before you know it, it's gone. You have a chance to read it and then it disappears. Either you screenshot it, and I don't even know if you can do that or not. But they specifically used Snapchat to track where Libby was going that day, I believe. All this talk about, I mean, so many phones, the phone that Richard Allen had, you know, and the weird things that he was saying about what he was doing with his phone. None of that adds up. All of the burner phones with Keegan Klein, the Anthony Shots account, logging in, logging out early that morning. Some strange man near the private drive around 9 o'clock. That's exactly how long it takes to drive from Peru to Delphi. So if you're logging in at 8 a.m., it's going to take you about an hour to get over to the private drive in Delphi. So right at 9 o'clock, somebody's walking around there, checking it out, right? Is this the same person that comes back and jumps on Keegan Klein's phone? Like, hey, I checked it out. You know, everything's all clear. Anthony says, but just so happens Ricky shows up with the mission to get to the bridge. Well, I mean, think about it. Richard Allen couldn't go to lunch with his family. He's already in Peru. I think there's a good chance that he woke up with Keegan Klein, with the Kleins. I think there's a good chance he woke up that morning with him. They came up with this plan or decided they were going to go forward with this plan, logged in and out of the Anthony Shots account on two burner phones. Richard Allen goes, meets up with his mother, talks to her briefly. No, I can't go with you. I have business. Richard Allen tells the Kleins, I'll meet me at Marathon gas station. Okay. Why not meet him at his house? Well, he doesn't want them to know where he lives, or he doesn't want, anybody to see the activity. Richard Allen goes home just as he told Dr. Walla, got, put on his kill kit, extra layers, got his weapons, his gun, his blades, his face covering, just a full disguise, a whole getup that he could just burn. Goes and meets the Kleins at the Marathon gas station. They get some alcohol, maybe even doing some drugs. They take the back roads, so they don't get pulled over or seen, all that liquid courage and getting ready to do a murder. So then they pull into the cemetery. They pass right by Ron Logan's home, pull into the cemetery, and they're just waiting there. They're watching the girls on Snapchat, communicating with them. Maybe even that's where they were communicating with them, right from the cemetery, right around 12 o'clock, right when Keegan Klein says, oh, I was with my grandparents from 12 to 3. So if they're in the cemetery and it's Richard Allen's job to go ahead and kind of act as a sheepdog, like we need you to kind of push them towards us, kind of corral them. Vito said that they were unable to recover the Snapchat messages from the night before and the morning of. I have a feeling that the discussion of the Monon High Bridge and the importance of the girls crossing the bridge and the whole ruse, right? The whole ruse of why they need to cross that bridge to the south side is going to be included in that conversation. There was a reason that they were crossing that bridge. There was a reason that Abby was doing it when she really didn't want to. And there's a reason that Libby was kind of asking her to. Friends being friends. So if Libby's convinced that she's talking to a handsome young guy and she's highly motivated, why is the person controlling the profile so motivated as well? Right? If it's connected. Mustang, I used Snapchat a while ago, but it's kind of weird. I'm not very social anymore. It's for social bugs. Yeah, and if you notice right at 1:30 when the girls kind of confirmed that they were able to get a ride, that's the exact moment that Richard Allen leaves, what is most likely the cemetery with the Kleins. Keegan Klein said, "Hey, I was in the cemetery. My dad went into the woods towards the crime scene, came back out muddy and bloody, and said, we just had a good time." So that tells me he's in the cemetery. Why would he be on the Hoosier Harvest Store security footage? Why, if he's trying to stay on the back roads and he pulls into the cemetery and pulls out of the cemetery and leaves the same direction, of course he wouldn't be on the Hoosier Harvest Store video. But Richard Allen would, because it was his job to get onto the north side, get them down on the south end of the bridge and across the creek. The question is why? What's up, Stephanie? Welcome back, Mustang, Betsy Ross. He already had 3 beers. Nah, he had like 8 or 9. Yeah, they could have been high. Keegan Klein kept talking about PCP and things like that. Yeah, I think so. I think he was gonna do it. I think he just got drunk just to kinda take the edge off. And that makes me kinda think that he had reservations about it. So once again, he's highly motivated. It's out of character for him. Why is he doing this? I mean, do these guys just want a thrill kill? Or do they wanna document it and try to make money? If the phone stops moving at 2:32 and Abby is later found on top of the phone, I think it's safe to say that they were killed right around that time. Give or take, right? 10 minutes at the most. So for 10 minutes, the phone drops, probably with all the clothes, at 2:32. So let's say that the timestamp on the newly released private drive CCTV footage is accurate, 2:44. So at 2:32, that's when they begin all the weirdness, right? We're going to take photographs. We demand that you do these things. You promised us photos, you didn't give them to us. Well, now we're coming to get our photos. Or we believe that we've come up with such a good plan that we're going to go commit this thrill kill and nobody's going to be able to lead. It's not going to lead to us. We've covered our tracks through Keegan Klein and through this whole Anthony Shots profile. It's untraceable. So we're going to get away with this. That's what they could have been thinking. But I feel like they were more motivated, and it's probably monetary. Why did Ricky back in his car? I mean, a lot of people do that. But I think he did it specifically because he's familiar with it, number one. Number two, hindsight is 2020. And the fact that we've been looking at aerial maps of the location, we know that it wasn't the brightest. But the truth is, that's how most unsolved murders happen, right? The assailant parks somewhere not too far away and then walks into the neighborhood or walks into the location, commits the crime, and then kind of walks out and then gets into their vehicle. That's basically what Richard Allen did. What's up, Dark Side? His wife said he was asleep on the couch when she came home at 5, but it's Valentine's. He's not doing something with his wife on his day off. Guess it was the next day, but I wonder but still, it's a good question. I wonder what they did do on Valentine's Day. That would have been a good question for Kathy on the stand. Like, hey, what did you do for Valentine's Day? I think it was premeditated, Betsy. I think it was premeditated. Hey, Len, Richard Allen could have told them to take their clothes off to take pictures. Yep, absolutely. So from 2:32, you have maybe photographs being taken. They've already crossed the creek. They're already over there. And then here comes the van at 2:44. Phone still doesn't move, but the actual crime is happening right there where the phone is. So for the next 10, 12 minutes, you have photographs, you have all this weird stuff, right? I mean, why else are they taking their clothes off? Um, Yeah, I don't know. There's got to be like a pile of clothing right here. I mean, it's very strange. There's clothes in the creek. So I don't know. I always felt that the killers were trying to get rid of their DNA. You know, if you got into a scuffle with Libby, you're going to want to take that clothes. But what I don't know. I guess you don't want to take it with you because that's evidence. You can't just burn it there. Your next best option is to go to the creek, right? That's what serial killers say. They always say you need to commit the murder near a water source so that you can get rid of DNA. And we learned through the trial that they didn't find any DNA. Maybe that's why. Maybe they were using the creek to kind of wash away any DNA that they might have left. Nah, you're good, Anthony. Just overall, this BS that Ricky is innocent. He admitted he did it without saying it. Do I think KK, the Anthony Shots count, is involved? Hell yes. So do I. So what do we do though? Keegan Klein's in jail. He'll probably die in prison. Richard Allen will die in prison. I mean, do you think Keegan Klein's father's involved? Or when he says him and his father, is he trying to blame his father? Is he really talking about Richard Allen? Or is he being serious when he says, yes, me, my father, and one of my father's friends committed this murder? Hey, what's up, Cindy Lean? Good to see you. Mike Essery, how are you? Welcome in. Thank you. I appreciate that. I think PCP is a stretch, Luth, but who knows? Well, that's just what Keegan Klein kept talking about. He kept saying, yeah, man, we'd get all high on PCP and I'd just pass out and people would use my phone. So if killers are talking in half truths, maybe he's telling us something. Maybe he's telling us what happened. He's like, I don't know. He's like, I got all high with my dad and my dad's friend, and I passed out on the couch, and there's Richard Allen and possibly his dad, right? Hypothetically. This is, we don't have any evidence of this. There they are talking to Abby and Libby the night before on Snapchat, trying to convince them, and maybe Richard Allen never went to sleep. Maybe he was just up. Maybe he was high all morning. All I know is there's a reason that his mother didn't take the stand, his wife didn't take the stand. There's a reason nobody wanted to talk about Richard Allen's demeanor that day. And he was asleep. I mean, why is he passed out at 5 o'clock? I mean, that is a good time to take a nap. But is that something he normally does? Why is he so exhausted, right? Maybe he was coming down, hungover. He's been up all night. Darkside says not really a lot of tandem killers. It's rare. I don't think there's not a lot of tandem killers. I think there's not a lot of tandem killers that are arrested. Think about it. Most people aren't going to confess to murder. And if you snitch on somebody, they're going to ask you, well, how do you know that he did it? Well, we did it together. Well, there's your confession. So it might happen a lot more than you think. It's just not reported. There's no reason to report it. If you're going to prison for murder, why would you tell on the other guy or the rest of the group if it's not going to benefit you? Like they're not giving you a deal. You did just as much as they did. You're all equally responsible, equal amount of brutality, but you're the only suspect and they think you're the only one that did it. Why even help them in their investigation and explain to them, well, this is what really happened. It was me, Bill, and Mike. It wasn't just me. There's no reason for it. And law enforcement, if this guy's admitting to it, I did it. You have my DNA. I did it alone. Law enforcement says case closed. Boom. I get my bonus at work, and I got a beautiful track record of solving cases. Case closed. I'm motivated to close it, and they're motivated not to tell the rest of the world what happened. And I think that's what we're dealing with here. Well, Keegan Klein, he tried to give up, at least his father. I don't know if he knew Richard Allen. I don't know if he just went along for the ride. I believe that he does. But I mean, he did confess. He confessed. He's the reason that they searched the Wabash River. We know that that's a fact now. They were looking for a phone and a blade. You know, what kind of blade? And where's that phone? Which phone? The thing is that two burner phones were being logged into the Anthony Shots account on Snapchat at 8 a.m. on Canal at the Canal Street address. 8 in the morning, two burner phones, none of them Keegan Klein's personal device. I think there's a good chance that one of those phones was on the trail in Richard Allen's hand. What's up, Mr. Beer? Yeah, he's a liar. And that's the reason that it, makes it difficult. And I feel like there's no real proof that the FBI tried to cover this up, but I mean, everything that seems to potentially implicate or connect Richard Allen and the Kleins was destroyed by the FBI. And with the kind of shit that Keegan Klein was involved in, and I think it might even have a lot to do with the motivating factor behind all of this, might be somebody with money, somebody with wealth, somebody with influence. Hey, we got a little problem in Delphi. Well, what is it? Well, two girls were murdered, and um, the guys who did it were sloppy. They left a trail, too many loose ends. We may need you guys to go down there and kind of put your foot on the scale, before it leads back to us. Because if it leads back to us, then it leads back to them. And then before you know it, house of cards. I remember one moment it went from we discovered the largest CSAM ring in Indiana history to tentacles to, well, I don't know. We couldn't find a connection. What do you want us to do about it? Yep. Different texting style, Sleuth, two different people. They originally thought that two weapons were used, two different weapons were used. Both girls were kind of treated differently. Betsy says, otherwise, why say you were looking at a stock ticker? It bugs me. There's not more info about his phone or burner. Wasn't there a geofence warrant? Yep. Anthony says, you don't let some pedo run free for 2 years. They was on him, his every move. That's the thing. I think ISP thought that the FBI was working Keegan Klein. I think they were under the assumption that the FBI was tapping his phone, monitoring his online activity. But I think once they found out that that wasn't happening, once again, here's the FBI helping Keegan Klein to stay under the radar. So Keegan Klein moves back to Indiana, and ISP says, okay, well, now he's back in our jurisdiction. He's ours now. The only reason we were depending on the FBI is because he moved to Las Vegas and we need them to jump state lines. Well, now that he's back, let's go ahead and move in on him. So what do you guys got on him? Now that he's back, go ahead and tell us what you got. Oh, we weren't tracking him. What do you mean you weren't tracking him? We thought you were working Keegan Klein and helping us with the Delphi murders. I thought we were kind of sending him out like bait almost. Oh, no, something happened. There was a clerical error, and we totally forgot all about that. So there you go. You have Keegan Klein and Marathon gas station. We found out that it's a fact. He did search that. FBI fumbles the ball on that. Comes back to Indiana. FBI wasn't doing anything. And I think that's why exactly to the day, a year after his arrest, they're kicked off the case. Because it took them a year. It took a year for ISP to discover that, yeah, they didn't do anything. Like, we need to investigate this. Like, what happened? Like, how did Keegan Klein go free for 2 years and then the FBI has nothing to show for it? Yeah, we need to investigate that. They do a year-long investigation and discover, yeah, some shady shit is going on here. You guys are off the case. Yep, and during his interview of Keegan Klein, they were looking for a specific device, and they never recovered it. That I don't know, Stephanie. You might be getting that confused with the person who took the polygraph. Yep, exactly, Anthony. Truffles, what's up? Richard Allen knows where the phone has been hidden. He may have hidden other pieces of evidence. I believe the trophies in the phone are still out there. Or the phone could have been used. That could be the product, right? They take a phone that's not connected to the internet, it's not connected to anything. They have their burner phones where they're tracking the girls through Snapchat, but then they have a third device that can't be tracked. And they're using it just to take photographs and video. And then that's what Keegan Klein takes to Las Vegas. That's the product. Like, here you go. This is what you paid us to provide you. Maybe that's why he was looking up the Delphi murders when he was in Las Vegas, like to prove to these clients or potential clients, like, look, here's the product that I have. It's the photos and it's the actual murder on video. And look, if you look up the crime, these are the people that are in the video. Like, this is their name. It's becoming a high profile case. And this is what we did. So give us a lot of money and I'll give you this device. Now, remember, Keegan Klein was trying to meet somebody in Vegas off of Craigslist. He said it was for drugs. I think that very well could have been the sale right there. Hey, Al. Well, we're glad to have you. All right, guys, 10-minute warning. 10-minute warning. Yep, it was the Samsung phone. Well, there was a Samsung that he had in Vegas. He said he found it in a taxi cab, but really it was a burner phone. And law enforcement really want that phone. They really want to know where it is. Mr. Beer says, "Hey Sleuth, can you remind us when KK says he knew he was effed and packed a bag to leave? Was that after the BG video was released?" That was after. Actually, you know what? It was no. That was before. Wait, when was the video released? Was it the 22nd? Or is that when the photographs were put out? Yeah, it was way before the video. I think all they had was audio and 2 photographs. They kicked in his door on the 25th. Betsy, I don't know if he left it in a cab, but that's where he said he found it. He found it in a cab. And it had everything. It was like registered, it was named Keegan Klein Photography, no passcode on it. I thought that was always interesting. No passcode. So it's set up for all of this, but anybody can access it. It had everything. It had his all of his emails were connected in there. I think some of Tony Klein's stuff were in there. Yeah, very strange. Very strange for a phone that he had only for like 2.5 days. Thanks, Mike. 10-minute warning, 8-minute warning now. I don't know, Stephanie. He talks about taking a polygraph. Nobody's ever he's the only one that ever said that. I've never heard anybody part of the investigative team say, "Yeah, we gave Tony Klein a polygraph." He's the only one to ever say that. All I know is that law enforcement spent a whole lot of money, time, and resources trying to connect Richard Allen to the Kleins. And I think when they failed to do that, they knew there was a reason for that. They knew that somebody was working against them. Yep, security footage was wiped and the hard drive was deemed corrupted. So if it was just pic and audio, dang, KK knew he was effed because he knew who was in that photo, allegedly. Wow. Thank you, Mustang. Yeah, when Sleuth does an open panel and I'm off work, I will try and call in. Yeah, we're going to do a lot more of those. We're going to do them all the time. So, yeah, me too, Lynn. Remember, the trial was just to prove Richard Allen was the bridge guy. That was their argument. Like, hey, if we can prove he's the bridge guy, well, he's the killer, or at least one of them. Yeah, we work hard to keep it that way, Anthony. I don't know if it was from their Wi-Fi or not, but it was from the Anthony Shots account, and I'm assuming it was from that Wi-Fi. Yeah, me too, Betsy. I mean, if you ain't doing anything, just go out there and kind of snoop around. You never know what you'll find. If I had to guess, he's got something buried somewhere in Mexico near where his mother stays, or somewhere back on those trails behind the CVS, or maybe even still on the property there on Whiteman Drive. He had a shed. Maybe there's something buried under there. So, do you guys like the stars? Should I keep them up, or does it look better without them? I like it like this, but you guys seem to like the stars. It does kind of add a little bit to it, huh? Thanks, Anthony. Good to see you, Betsy. Lynn says keep the stars. All right. We're keeping the stars. Appreciate that, Anthony. Yeah, we got plenty of room here, too. Plenty of space. All right, Silverleaf. Mike says absolutely believe TK is involved. They never arrest him for CSAM, even though they had his email connecting him. Even Keegan mentioned why his dad wasn't arrested. Yeah, I mean, that is true. Yep, we got the new studio. I was flying the drone around in here earlier today. Trying to figure out how to use the payload dropper, and it was actually extremely simple. It works off of a light sensor, which is pretty cool. Carries 5 pounds like nothing. Yeah, me too, Miss Dog Lover. Thank you. Definitely got to get the right equipment. I think I know what I need to do, though. So, yeah, we live and we learn. But that's going to do it, guys. Thank you for hanging out with me for another Delphi discussion. Um, Abby and Libby's case is just one of those tough. It's a tough case to just accept, especially when we've spent so much time on it and we feel like we have a somewhat of an understanding of what's really going on. Something's not quite right. I think everybody senses that. And I think that's the one thing that we can all agree with in this community, whether you're pro Richard Allen or whatever, whatever title you put on yourself, we can all agree on that something is just not quite right. And if we can agree that we don't really know what that is, maybe we can really figure that out together. But either way, you guys have a great night. I'll see you again tomorrow morning. And take care of yourselves. Peace.